It's time now for the Kill the Can podcast.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Kill the Can podcast. It is Tuesday morning. I'm on the way to work. It is a beautiful 60-degree day here in Cleveland, Ohio. The sun is shining. There is not a cloud in the sky. It is absolutely beautiful. And I relay that not because you tune into this podcast for Cleveland weather, but because it reminds me of how shitty the weather was this past weekend when I was camping with my 10-year-old on Saturday and Saturday evening. He is a Cub Scout, and he had a family camp out that was Friday and Saturday evening. And I'm not a huge fan of camping. I enjoy the outside. I enjoy the hiking. I enjoy the campfire activities and those kind of things. I'm not a huge fan of tent camping. And when I looked at the weather for this weekend and I realized that they were predicting rain throughout the day and evening, I was even less enthused than I would normally have been. It rained Friday evening, which means the camp was soaked going into Saturday. And then it was scheduled to rain off and on throughout the day on Saturday. I got him to the camp on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. We took a nice long hike, which I will get into here in a moment. And luckily, the weather actually cooperated with us for the most part. It rained, a half an hour here, 10 minutes here. We got into our tent, lights out were around 10 o'clock or so. Again, he's 10. Actually, it was his 10th birthday. And it absolutely poured at about 12:30 in the evening, at night. And then it stopped, and then it poured again for about another half hour at 5:30 in the morning. And so breaking down camp the next morning with a completely soaked tent, covered with slugs, the tent, not me. It was kind of what I was not really looking forward to from a tent camping experience, and it was what I was worried about, quite frankly, with a tent camping experience. But here's what I'll tell you. Even though on this Tuesday morning, I'm sitting here and I'm dealing with a terrible pain in my toe, which is either a combination of gout or I have a condition in my toe where my big toes are frozen. It's called hallux rigidus. It's effectively a combination of a bone spur and arthritis. The day and evening that I got to spend with my son on his 10th birthday was absolutely amazing, as you can imagine. Even though I'm in pain, I don't care because I had an awesome time with him. He had an outstanding time with his friends, with his Cub Scout pack. And I realized this morning I didn't even think about dip one time the entire time I was gone. It literally never even crossed my mind. And that is the type of freedom that you can expect when you put some distance between yourself and your addiction. And I'm here to tell you that even coming up on 18 years after I've stopped dipping, realizations like that this morning, the realization that, holy shit, I didn't even think about dip an entire weekend. Not only an entire weekend, but a weekend where there was some stress, there was some anxiety, I was outside, it was an experience where I would normally have been dipping the entire weekend. And the fact that I never even considered it, and I thought about that this morning, I thought that was a huge win. I mentioned the fact that we didn't go on Friday. On Friday evening, my other son, who is a junior, attended his prom. He's dating a senior, and so she took him to the prom, and so we did all the prom activities. And again, on Friday evening, I didn't even consider dip. I will say there was one time that I thought about it, and it was only because there was another father there taking pictures who I had just met for the first time, and he was dipping. And I don't know about you, but no matter how good of a ninja dipper somebody thinks they are, a former dipper can always notice immediately when somebody has a dip in, when somebody is trying to be a ninja. So for the ninjas out there, if you think you're fooling people, you're not. Or at the very least, you're not fooling former dippers, because we know for sure. I wanted to talk today real briefly about a question that I see every so often on Discord or on the forums or whatever. And the question is, would I ever dip again for any reason? And it gets me to thinking, would I dip ever again knowing what I know now? I've played this scenario out in my head many times during my quit and thought, would any of these reasons be permissible? So first off is the terminal illness. I mean, this one's got to be the easiest one to answer, right? If I get a terminal illness and I'm going to die anyways, would I not go back to dipping? I mean, I'm dying anyways, right? How about some terrible tragedy? Pick one. Life is going to give you a bunch. We're all going to deal with them. Losing my family, losing my job. Should I pack a dip? And then the end of the world. Hey, the world is going to end. It's a nuclear holocaust. It's Armageddon, and there's a meteor that's going to strike Earth. Whatever it is. What would it hurt? It's all going to be over in an hour anyways. And there are others, but I'm sure you kind of get the point. And I have to tell you that my answer to this question is different now than it was when I first quit dipping. At this point, I would answer no to all of those scenarios. I have fought too long and too hard to get to a place of freedom from my addiction. Again, I just relayed a story about camping with my son, and I never even considered it. And that's freedom. I have learned too much about how big tobacco goes out of their way to engineer these products to make it so that they are more desirable, more addictive. And at this point in my life, I have what I would consider a seething hatred for big tobacco. Not even necessarily because what they've done to me, but because what they continue to do. And as the older I get, the less tolerant I get about organizations preying on unsuspecting customers, because that's what we are. We are nothing but dollar figures and customers to big tobacco. They have poisoned every single one of their users. They don't care what their product does to your body, does to your peace of mind, does to your family, does to your wallet. They will sell poison to you on a daily basis, and they will think of creative ways to expand their client base. So would I ever dip again? Hell no. I won't do it. One note to the new folks out there that might have had a different answer to some of these questions. Get over the illusion that you miss dip. You don't. You didn't like it. It was not fun. It didn't help anything. You were addicted to a chemically enhanced superdrug. Quit romanticizing it and look at it with open eyes. Develop a hatred for your addiction, for the thing that you were addicted to, for the company that sold you the thing that you were addicted to. That hatred can help fuel your quit in those difficult times that we all face early in our quit. It is an absolute honor to be quit with every one of you today. I'll talk to you soon, quitters. Have a wonderful day.
Join us again next time for another edition of the Kill the Can podcast.